All right, welcome back, everybody, to a special live training we have. This is brought to you by the Seven Figure Seller Summit. Today, you're going to learn how to double your PPC profits in Q4. I have with me live Mina Elias. How's it going, Mina?
Amazing, man. I'm out here in San Francisco, and I'm excited to give a lot of value in this talk.
Awesome, awesome. So, thanks everybody for joining us live again. And we also had many pre-submitted questions. We won't have time to get to all of them, but we're going to cover as many as we can. So, Mina actually spent a lot of time reviewing all of your questions, and he's custom tailoring the PPC training to help as many of you guys as he can. And a quick introduction about Mina in case you don't know him. Mina is a multiple seven-figure seller in the supplement industry. He sells a number of seven-figure brands on Amazon, and then he also operates a PPC Amazon advertising agency called Trivium Group. And then he's going to share more about that as well. So today in this live training, here's what you're going to learn. All right, he's going to show you the four-step process to double your profits on Amazon Q4. So he's going to walk you through this step by step. It's not going to be hypothetical. He's going to get straight to the meat. It's going to be actionable. So you're going to be able to leave today with the strategy, the four steps to implement directly into your PPC. So to potentially double your profits in Q4. And because we are live, guys, before we get started, if you can type your name and where you're joining us from in the chat, that would be great. So, Mina, before we start out, could you share a little bit about who's this training for and why they should pay attention today?
Awesome, yeah. So this who's this training for? This training's for, you know, I'm gonna go kind of start from the roots. So anyone who doesn't really understand how to fully optimize the listing, I'm gonna cover analytics, which I think applies to almost everyone because I've recently given a talk about specifically analytics to people doing 7 8 figures, and a lot of them don't have a full grasp on that. So you guys, if you're not at that level, you get a head start. And then when we cover the operations, it's going to go more into the intermediate. So we'll have some stuff for the beginners. We'll have a lot of stuff for the intermediate people. If you're an agency, you might pick up a couple things here and there. And if you're advanced, I think you're going to really appreciate the analytics stuff. So, and oh,
Excellent.
why should you listen to me? So,
Yeah.
I'll give you a little bit of background. So I started off creating a supplement while I was a full time project manager. I got my bachelor's in chemical engineering and chemistry. Got my master's in engineering, and then worked in corporate for 5 years. I did a lot of different things. I worked for the biggest medical devices company in the world on new product development, and I eventually felt like this corporate life was not made for me, and I decided to start a supplement brand because I'm very into like health and fitness and working out, and it was my passion. So I created the supplement, tried selling it in stores and in gyms, and it wasn't working out. And I asked myself, why am I trying to sell in these places that I never buy supplements from? I buy all my stuff from Amazon. So I tried to figure out how to get my stuff on Amazon after kind of someone asked me, said, where can I buy your products? And I didn't have an answer. My website didn't even have a buy now button. I didn't even know like that you could just get a Shopify store and like connect it and then send it from your house. So I just lied and said it was going to be on Amazon. And that journey started. I didn't know anything, and I kind of spent a lot of my own money in the supplement industry on Amazon, learning how to sell. And the one lever that I always felt, there's two main levers that I felt like I could pull and increase my profits, and one of them was the reviews and the other one was PPC. And obviously reviews I was getting as fast as I could, but everyone knows it's like very hard. And then but PPC, I saw that the more I kind of ran PPC, the more revenue I made, the more profits I made if I did it correctly. And so I went out and I talked to everyone like me right now, anyone who owned an agency, all the employees in the agency, conferences, everything. And I just kind of collected as much knowledge as possible. I've learned from a lot of other great people that you've had on the show, like Destiny, and so eventually, I kind of took all this knowledge, implemented on my own stuff, and I got really good. And I started sharing more information. The PPC was working on my supplement brands, and but it was working 10 times better on everyone else's brands because they were in a lot less competitive niche. So if you're selling like a wallet or something, it's way easier to run ads profitably than if you're selling supplements or like BCAs or something. So people like really appreciated the information, and I kept sharing more and more. And then eventually I was approached by an aggregator, who kind of put me against six other agencies, and asked me to like manage their stuff. And they said, your stuff performed the best, we want you to build our in-house team. And so I built their systems and operations and everything for PPC. And at that point I said, I could probably like start an agency if I'm outperforming all these other ones. And that aggregators can pay anything because they have like hundreds of millions of dollars raised. So that gave me the
Yeah, they got
confidence. And
billions of dollars in their coffers.
yeah, so that gave me the confidence. And that's how I started Trivium. And now we're managing around like 15 clients or so. We are like super data driven. I don't over like spread myself too thin. I'm happy growing like slower, but I'm not just gonna say like yes, yes, yes to clients that I know I'm not gonna like get a good return on. Or if like my employees are kind of like at capacity, I'm not gonna say yeah, like bring them on and kind of get in neglect. So we're slow and steady, very data driven. And I try and give everything away, like all of my knowledge, all of my value, because that's how I got to this point, is other people giving me knowledge and information. So this is kind of my way of giving back. And I know like there's an abundance of knowledge out there, and everyone's gonna win. And there's a lot of money to be made on Amazon. So if I can help someone change their life, maybe their business is not doing so well and it does better after they get a good grasp on PPC, and they're able to like whatever, quit their job or reach their financial goals, it's gonna mean a lot to me. So that's why I just hop on and share all this stuff.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks so much for sharing your story, Mina. And a couple of quick takeaways that I hope that you guys were able to resonate with is one, Mina was working a day job. He was a chemical engineer. He had background in chemistry. It really didn't click with him, and then that's how he started his side hustle. Selling on Amazon. And two, you can see that he's honest. He made mistakes. Everyone made mistakes. I've made mistakes. I've lost money on Amazon. I've had successes as well. But the key is he learned from those mistakes and he was able to pivot. And then he actually built a second business from all the learnings that he made, the mistakes that he
Hmm.
made, right? So, and third is he's very transparent. So I know he's going to drop a ton of value. So I hope that you guys can pay close attention. So before we get started, just a quick shout out to some of the people joining us. Welcome Ben from New York. Welcome Jody from South Australia. G'day. Welcome Sally from Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. Nancy and Kristen from California. Great to have you guys. Rana from Pakistan, and also Yoni is joining us. I believe he's in Jersey if he's not traveling. So Yoni
Wow,
from
that's
Gitira. So
awesome, man. I
so
love
we have
Yoni.
yes, we have a global audience. I love how our speakers are coming back to join us to get even more value. So that's what this is all about. Seven Figure Seller Summit in today's live training. All right. So before we get started, could I ask you, in terms of the state of Amazon PPC, because as we're recording this now, we just finished Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Could you give us like a quick 1 to 2 minute pulse? What you're seeing in terms of, are the numbers as good as last year, or CPC is up? What are you seeing from all the accounts and your own accounts that you're managing?
Yeah, so cost per clicks are definitely up across the board, which is not unusual. It's Black Friday, Cyber Monday. The sales weren't as good. Prime Day was definitely a lot better. So that was unusual. I think everyone expected Black Friday, Cyber Monday to be better. Not sure why. I'm still like talking to everyone else and trying to get an idea of why the sales weren't as strong. A lot of people were saying like they did. I think a lot of the aggregators said they were. I know I saw a few of them post. They said they did better than last year. But the accounts that I was managing, and a lot of like my friends who also own PPC agencies said that across the board maybe it was a little bit better than Black Friday, Cyber Monday last year, because that was kind of a little bit more of like the COVID impact, but it was definitely not as good as Prime Day. So I wonder why. But I think, I think it's fine. I think, if you got a little bit of a sales bump, why not, right?
Yeah. And it could be, I mean, I'm just hypothetical thinking. Maybe it's because things are opening up nowadays, at least from what I'm hearing in the US, and more people are
Hmm.
going back to physical stores, kind of like pent up, right, from the whole lockdown situation. So it could be that, but I think the jury's still out. And the other thing that I've been seeing in terms of the news is, Amazon sellers and a lot of retailers, they're encouraging the buying holiday shopping even earlier, like since October. So maybe some people already bought their shopping like
Hmm.
previously. um I'm just speculating, but it's good to know that
Hmm.
that's what you're seeing, and thanks for sharing that. All right, so without further ado, Mina, would you like to start the show and we will share your screen? Does that sound good?
Yeah, yeah, let's do it. We don't have to share. Oh, we don't have to share right now. Let's
Okay.
start. So I want to give
Okay.
kind of like
Yeah.
information on the whole process. So when it comes to PPC, there's a few steps, and I've really kind of noticed this a lot because I didn't realize it as much when I was running my own brands. Because when I was running my own brands, I was fully focused on the advertising portion, and I just kind of assumed that in terms of like keywords and indexation and conversion rate, all of that is there. My conversion rates were 30%, plus my indexation on keywords was decent, so I never really paid too much attention. But as I started bringing in a lot of clients, the one I noticed there was two types. The ones that we turn on the PPC, we'd identify the profitable keywords, we set up a system, and then they started becoming more and more profitable, and we noticed week on week they're improving their profits. And then there was another group that wasn't the case. So I want to break down the stock into the first portion being, let's focus on the listing portion, the keywords, the indexation. I know Brandon Young talks a ton about indexation, so you should also listen to a lot of the stuff he says. And then once we cover that, I want to cover the analytics portion, because that is like, before anything, you really need to understand you're putting money in and you're going to get money out, and the conversion is a huge portion of it. And if you're blind and you can't see what's going on, you're just going to keep looking at campaign manager and seeing that you have a certain ACOS and a certain ROAS, and not understanding where the problems are. And the easier and faster you can understand where problems are and diagnose them, the more successful you're going to be with the PPC. And then finally, I want to dive right into like the full setup and systems, and how I manage the PPC, and how you can build that kind of system, and all of like the learnings that I found. And then at the end, we can touch on like launches, because I've launched a lot of products now that it's not just my products, it's a lot of other people's products, and I've seen what works and what doesn't work. And I want to cover that, because I think the first 90 days of launching a product is the most important. 90 days is the honeymoon phase, and Amazon will kind of say, oh, you're not selling that well, and they'll put you in this box of like, this is an average seller, so it's going to be very hard to go up. But with one with the products that start pretty strong, you get that benefit from Amazon right away. So it's better to start strong. So let's look at the keywords and how I'll like identify keywords. So first thing I do, let's open up like a yeah, let's do the screen share. I'm gonna share like so we're gonna go into like Amazon, and I'm gonna just like use an example. Here's like an example I like to use. So mushroom coffee. Okay, this is like a mushroom coffee. So, um, the first thing is like, we need to have a lot of like the keywords that we're gonna start uh, running PPC for in our listings, or somewhat indexing in our listings, or else I'm gonna start running PPC, and I'm not gonna see good results. And how I noticed this was, I ran auto for a product, and it had a very weak listing. So there was like a short kind of like title like this, maybe one sentence in the bullet points. There wasn't any like, see, there's like a lot of words here. There wasn't any words in the enhanced brand content. And so what happened was, when I ran auto, and then I went in the search term report and I looked at the search term report, it wasn't discovering any keywords. It was able to discover products, so like we could find out what products like are we're getting clicks on from customers, but there was no keywords. And then I said, wow, okay, what's going on here? So here's how I figured one way to go about it. I've already loaded this up. So type in like your product name, men's facial cream. I would say you use magnet first. Magnet in helium 10 will tell you what's your main keyword. So you can type in the main keyword on helium 10 in magnet, and then it's gonna and then you can look at all of the other keywords related to that and make sure that you're choosing the most broad, like largest search volume keyword that's directly related to the product. So don't go too broad where the search results are something that's not your product, but go big enough that the search results are your product. And then open up X-ray, and you can sort by revenue here. And what I would do is like pick the top 10 competitors and launch them in Cerebro. You can just click run keyword search. So they're going to open up here in Cerebro. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 keywords. It pulled up 91,000 keywords. I'm going to click on advanced filter, and for minimum ranking competitors, I'm going to put 9, which is 1 minus the number of number of products here. And then I'm going to click apply. And once I click apply, this is going to give me kind of the intersection of all of the keywords between all these products. So they have these, all of these products are ranking for these keywords. And then what we can do is we can like further refine them with the rank. So if we wanted to, we can say like like maximum ranking is 30. So kind of show us like uh anything that is on page 1 for all of them, and it's going to give us like a pretty refined list of keywords. As you can see here, there's like 24 keywords. But if you feel like that's too refined, you can always go back and like loosen this up, make it like 60 or something, or make this 8, and it'll give you like a bigger pool of keywords. So these keywords, these 24 keywords, are going to be kind of like your most important. All right, it went back because I clicked the back button by accident. But anyways, those keywords are going to be the most important, and you want to make sure that these keywords are in your like the front end, your title, your bullet points, your search terms. So you can like easily open up here like listing optimization, scribbles, and in scribbles you can put all the keywords in there, and you can start writing your listing based on all of these keywords. So that's going to be number 1. Then number 2 is like, okay, now let's get all of the keywords that our competitors are ranking for. So I would loosen this up to like maybe 4. 4 is going to give us like a very broad number of keywords. Obviously, like I would go for like 2,000 keywords, something like that. So this is, yeah, I don't know, skincare I guess is like insane. So
Mina, sorry to interrupt. Can I
yeah.
ask a quick question? When you say
Mhm.
you're bringing it down to 4, what is that? Like 4
So
competitors?
yeah, so 4 and 6 is ranking competitors. So what it means is, you see how we have here 10 products. So when I put 6 minimum ranking competitors, it means get me keywords that are present in 7 out of these 10 products. Okay. When I did
Right.
9 minimum ranking competitors, it means give me keywords that are present in 10 out of these 10 competitors. So if there's a keyword in this product that's, let's say, like Neutrogena skincare, and it's not present in this one or not present in this one, don't show it, because that means it's like not relevant for all of them. So we're trying to identify keywords that are relevant for all 10 of these products. In this case, for 7. So when it says 6, you add 1. So
Yep.
when I say rank a competitor 6, I want to show keywords that are available in at least 7 out of these 10. So think about it, like if product 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, all of them have those same keywords, they must be like
Mhm.
really relevant keywords, right? So that's how I
Right.
can kind of like filter through which keywords are relevant and which ones are like random ones. And if you remove this, you'll see like there's some keywords that don't make any sense. But
Yep.
when you kind of combine all the 10 and you say they have to be present in all 10, you get a pretty refined list. So the
Got it.
next step
And
here,
Mina, will
yeah,
you be taking questions from the audience, or do you want to save them
yeah,
until the end?
we
Yep.
can take questions. Yeah, we can take questions. I'll let you kind of ask me
Sure.
whenever you feel like it is a good time.
Okay,
Um,
guys. So if you have any questions for Mina, I know he's going very fast. Feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll get to them
yeah,
as soon as we can. Thanks, guys. All right, Mina, let's keep going.
perfect.
Great stuff.
So we can export this and we can get all of these keywords. And the next step, so like I said, the first step is we can put the keywords here, and like it's gonna take too long if I do it, but we can put the keywords here, click apply, and then put our title, bullet points, subject matter, description, search terms. Make sure that we're utilizing as many keywords as possible, and then also anywhere else in the back end. In your enhanced brand content, each image you can add keywords. So just make sure you add keywords anywhere you can. Another like kind of quote unquote pro tip, I hate using that word, is you can add keywords in the questions. So you can ask questions from your own buyer account. So let's say you have your account that you buy products with all the time. You can change the name. So here it says Katrina Evans. You can change your name to like anonymous or Amazon customer or something, or customer. And then you can ask questions, and you can have keywords in those questions. So you can say like, let's say you want to rank for face lotion for women. So you can say here like, is this a face lotion for women, or is it for men also, question mark. Something like that, that just kind of sounds like a stupid question. Who cares, right, if it's stupid? But it will add those keywords, and then when you answer, you can also answer with those keywords, and then Amazon will crawl the question section. So it's a great place to add keywords if you are like completely running out of place to add them here, and add them like in the front end and the back end. So after we do that, we're gonna go and we want to see, okay, like let's start tracking our progress. So we're gonna go to analytics and keyword tracker. So we're gonna open keyword tracker here. I'll just open it. We're gonna open keyword tracker, and then we're gonna take all of our keywords, and we're gonna add our product, and then we're gonna put them. So add whatever your product is, and then you can add all of your keywords in here. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a benchmark. So before all the optimization you've done, add all the keywords, export this list, and you'll be able to see the keyword and your organic rank for that keyword. And so you can kind of have like this benchmark and say, okay, on December 1st, 2021, I have this product with these keywords and these rankings. And then once you optimize, and we'll talk about like running some of that stuff on PPC, you can then wait a week, and you can download this list again, export this list again, and then make sure you sort it by like alphabetical order, so you never lose like the positions. And then you can compare the old position with the new position and see how much progress you're making. And I think Brandon Young's data dive probably does this like in a more advanced level, but this is kind of like a rudimentary level of doing it without having to get like overly complicated. And then from there, you can start like tracking every week how much closer you are and to getting to your ranking. And if you notice some of the keywords are not ranking, you can add them in different areas. Maybe they're not in like a bullet point or something. Maybe you can add those keywords in a bullet point, and see if you're start ranking for them. So this is kind of the way that we start tracking. The way to optimize the listing, in my opinion, that affects the most, and I talked to Vanessa Hung a lot about this, is through a category listing report. So go to Amazon, open up a case, and tell them, can I download my category listing report? They'll say, sure, here you go. This is how you download it. You have access to it now, and go and download that report. In that report, it's like a flat file, and it's an Excel sheet, and it's going to say, here's your ASIN, here's your SKU, here's your title, bullet points, whatever. I would adjust, so you've done everything in Scribbles to kind of account for as many keywords as possible. I would copy it from Scribbles and then put it into the category listing report. And then once it's in that report, you can upload it again to Amazon, and it has a lot better effect than just going to inventory and clicking on edit. And this is anecdotally, I have no idea why it works better, but it does. It just works better. I've tried it. Vanessa's tried it with a lot of her clients. So just
I've tried that with one of my products as well. I
it
couldn't
works
get,
better.
yeah, it overrides. It has like more weight to it because we were trying to make a change to the listing from Seller Central, the
Yeah,
web interface, but it didn't go
yeah,
through. But then I had my team member download it, and the flat file, and then we made the change there, and
yeah.
then we uploaded it, and then eventually it did go through. So I feel that, yeah, I agree
It
with what
works
Vanessa says as well. Like she had an excellent podcast with Norm Farrar a few weeks
about this.
ago. Yeah, about that. So,
Perfect.
but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so I would do it through the category listing report, and then I would continue to monitor in the keyword tracker like every week benchmark to make sure that you're indexing. And the reason I say this is because if we start running PPC without having this stuff correctly, you're it's almost like you're like driving a car, and like maybe like the wheels like are not loosened, or not tightened enough or something. It's like it's not going to work
Yeah.
correctly. So make sure that you cover that base first. And this is kind of on the list, listing optimization side, and making sure you're indexing for the keywords. And you can always download like this, for example, which is Amazon Keyword Index and Rank Tracker. Also Helium 10 has it. So I think Index Checker right here. Yeah, Index Checker. Those are both the same thing, and you can kind of put your ASIN, dump 200 keywords, and check the ranking, and make sure you're getting indexed for those. So those are two ways you can make sure that you're getting indexed to kind of check that you're on the right track with getting your listing like in the right place to start driving a lot of traffic to it. So another thing you can do also is you can start like creating campaigns with very low bids, just as a signal to Amazon that if it's in your listing and it's in a PPC, it's gonna help the signal to Amazon like these keywords are relevant, and it's gonna help your auto campaigns a lot. And the reason I really care about the auto campaigns is because they're the strongest campaign on Amazon, and I've seen them like usually like they're in the top two or three performing campaigns in every single uh, portfolio that I've like looked at, once we start running it. So I don't know why. I think it's because it's just like Amazon's algorithm. It uses Amazon's algorithm, so it just performs better. But that's just what I've seen. So it's very important to support that auto campaign. So that's
Interesting.
kind of,
Mina,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt. You mentioned you wanted to create campaigns to signal to Amazon.
yeah.
Like, what do you mean to create like a manual campaign for a certain keyword to signal to Amazon, and then Amazon's going to put it into your auto campaign? Is that what you mean?
So basically, when you create campaigns to run a keyword, like let's say you're not ranking for like face serum. So if you put
Mhm.
face serum in your listing and then you create a campaign like broad phrase and exact, like you could create three campaigns that have that keyword face serum, then Amazon has two signals that your product is relevant for face serum. It's on your listing, and you're running ads for it. So it'll
Okay.
help. It'll help the like when Amazon crawls your listing and says, okay, where do I put this product in the catalog? What keywords is it relevant for? It'll help
Mm,
that. And then once it does, then the auto campaign is able to like trigger for that keyword and its roots. So
got it. Yeah.
the that is very important because the auto campaign and the broad and phrase campaigns, they all really drive discovering your keywords. And so
Interesting.
when the auto campaign is running effectively and the broad and phrase are running effectively, maybe they're driving you sales, but they're also discovering an incredible amount of keywords that are like that
Yep.
can be very profitable that you can then run ads on.
Excellent.
Okay,
Cool. Let's
cool.
keep
So
going. Thank you.
yeah, so I think here is like where we kind of like take the break. We're done with the listing. We're done with the indexation. Do you want to take any questions? Should we go into the analytics?
If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat right now, and then Mina will
Cool.
be able to answer them. But as of right now, it looks like we're good.
Okay.
I'll
So
prompt you if anything comes up.
yeah, so the next step is analytics. I noticed like a lot of people don't have very clear visibility on their analytics, and they really rarely ever have like a week on week visibility on their analytics. And so I've kind of built this very simple Excel sheet. Every day, you're documenting like your PPC spend, your PPC sales, your total sales, the number of units that you're selling, the sessions, the conversion rate, the click through rate, cost per click, total ACOS, the price, fees, cost of goods sold, and then your profits. So this one is a bad example because PPC is zero because we combined it. But anyways, I just wanted to show like this is the first thing that you need to do is develop some sort of system where you have visibility. So when you start running PPC, what you're going to see in campaign manager is just the PPC sales, but you're not going to see the overall sales. And you can very quickly start identifying, okay, my PPC spend went up and my overall sales went up. By how much? And you can start to notice these trends, and you can start to say, okay, my PPC spend went up like by 300%, but my overall sales went up by 5%. Then we're not being effective. Also, it's very important for the sessions. So if your PPC spend is going up, you want to see that your sessions are going up, because the whole purpose of PPC is to realize, like, to bring more people to the listing, so, and at the cheapest price possible. So if you notice that you're running ads and you're not getting those sessions in, that's going to be another red flag. So it's good to have that visibility. Same with the conversion rate. Sometimes a week will go by and the PPC will go down, and a client or whatever, or maybe it's one of my brands, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, why did our profit go down? And it could be that the conversion rate went down, and I start digging deep. Okay, which days did it just go down overall, or did it, was it some days that it went down? And if I notice that it went down overall, I have a log of like every change that we've ever made on each listing, and I try and see, was it something that we did, or is it just seasonal, or what's going on? Because sometimes we kind of immediately think, wow, PPC is not working, the ACOS went up, when everything is the same, the PPC spend is the same. However, the conversion rate went down by 37%, so your overall sales went down by 37%. Same with the click-through rate. The click-through rate is also a good indicator to the desirability of your product, when it's pinned up against other products. So when you're running these ads, you're showing up against other products, and if your click-through rate is low, it's going to be very hard to kind of get to a point where you're profitable. And so another thing that I say is, people should be nonstop experimenting with any factor that can improve their click-through rate and conversion rate. So with the click-through rate, it's like the main image, the title, the reviews, the star rating, if you have coupons on there, if anything that is going to show up on the main listing. If you, maybe your listing says like it's $33 per count, but if you change it to like $1 per serving, or $1 per whatever, something where it's like the cost is broken down, then people are going to be like, oh wow, like this guy did the math for me, it is cheaper than the competitors, I'm going to click on it and I'm going to consider it. So, and I've seen there's tremendous benefits to increasing the click-through rate even by 0.1%. So a lot of times it could be that your PPC is fine, but your click-through rate and conversion rate is what doesn't hold up, because you're gonna run PPC and then people are gonna start clicking on you, and if you don't have enough people clicking and you don't have enough people converting, it'll just never be profitable, no matter how much you cut down. We look at the cost per clicks just to see if the cost per click is going significantly up. Are we overspending on PPC, or is it a seasonal thing? Total ACOS is there because this is kind of an indication of how much percent of our profits are being spent. It's not too important. The main factor that I look at right now, or the main metric that I look at, is profits. So if the profits are going up, I'm gonna make sure that is it click through rate and conversion rate that cause the profits to go up, or is it that our PPC is actually being more efficient and we're spending more and getting more sessions? So we're at a 10% increase in spend is going to give us a 25% increase in sessions. And so having everything documented every single day, and then looking at it week on week and noticing the changes every single week. And I've like, when I've worked with aggregators, they have this like 10x this, they look at every single thing week on week, and they're always comparing, and they have a month on month, and they have a year, like they compare this week this year versus this week last year. So they're very meticulous when it comes to like benchmarking and comparing how they're doing versus how it's going. Because a lot of people say, my ACOS is 35%, is that bad, is that good? It doesn't really matter. It just matters what you were doing last week, what it is this week, and what your profits are. So if the dollar amount in profits is going up, it's amazing. If you can identify what's causing that dollar amount in profit to go up, great. If not, just keep going until you can. And if the profit dollar amount went down, even if your ACOS is, if the ACOS doesn't really matter, right? It's the dollar amount in profit. So if it went down, try it immediately identify. Was it because click-through rate and conversion rate took a hit? Or is it actually that the PPC itself is, there's an issue there? And you can see, like, did you spend more money and not get more sessions? If that's the case, yeah, that's the problem. Did you cut down PPC spend, and as a result, you lost a lot of your overall sales? Then maybe your PPC was affecting your organic more than you thought. So very important to have some sort of dashboard like this. And this allows me to kind of review every single account. So I obviously can't be inside the accounts all the time, but it allows me, take a couple hours on Monday and look at every single dashboard for every single account and very quickly diagnose what's going on. If the profit's going up, I can attribute it to what's happening. Is it because of us, or is it because of the conversion rate or click through rate is being better? And whatever it is, we want to bring it to light and say, let's do more of this. And then, on the flip side, if it's going down, we want to identify immediately what the issue is and then bring it to light and fix it, and try and be better. So wanted to cover that. And
Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt. Can I quick question?
yeah,
Um, Talking about profitability, as you know, seller costs are going up, right? Obviously the shipping, the whole supply chain costs skyrocketing, delays.
yeah.
There's so many ways to increase profitability. What do you see is working right now? And are you seeing sellers increasing their prices as well?
Yeah, that was
To
what I was gonna say. I was gonna
Okay.
say that the number one thing that's happening right now is an increase in price, and I think this is very normal. It's just inflation. So the entire country is getting affected by this supply chain issue. Every single seller that I've talked to is, my manufacturer called me a couple months ago. He said, listen, your the stock that we bought for you, like, 6 months ago, is running out. This new batch is going to cost you two more dollars a unit. So everyone's getting hit by this. My manufacturer is, the cost per containers went from, whatever, 2 to 4 grand to like 15 to 20 grand. They're back down like to 12 to 14 grand. So cost is up, and as a result, the prices for everything is up. So yeah, this is just typical inflation, and I think you have to raise your prices if you want to stay in the market, because everything is going up. Cost per click is going up. The cost of goods sold is going up. So I think it's normal.
Yep.
I think raising your price is fine. What I would say is keep an eye out on your conversion rate. You can raise
Yep.
your price by a dollar every few days and notice what your click-through rate and your conversion rate is. If you notice that you have a huge dip in your click-through rate and conversion rate, then maybe your price doesn't hold up versus your competition. If the click-through rate, conversion rate are stable, keep increasing it until you hit that point. And sometimes maybe at like $20, your click-through rate, conversion rate at like, let's say, it's 30%, and then maybe at $28 it goes down to like 23%. Just kind of do the math and say, okay, if I lose that 7% conversion rate, but I'm making $7 more per unit or $8 more per unit, what's the net profit at the end? Then having like the analytics that I talked about, is going to be very clear to see, because you're going to see what your sale price is and what your conversion
Mhm.
rate is and what click rate is, and then you're going to see the new, and then you're going to see your profits, and then you can very quickly make a decision. Oh yeah, this is good, or no, 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 let's go back.
Excellent. Mina, I know that at the end you're going to share some resources. It would be awesome if you had a template like that analytics spreadsheet that we can
Yeah,
use. Just an
yeah.
idea. Yeah.
I'll send
Okay.
I'll send you. I do have a template actually. So and it's like pre-filled and everything. You just have to put in your numbers. So I'll send it to you so you can blast it out to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have
Awesome.
another question about auto campaigns, but let's save that until the end. I just want to make sure you have enough time to finish out. So
Yeah.
I do see that question from Rana. We'll get to that at the end. All right. So let's keep
Perfect.
going.
Yeah. And I'm pretty close, so we'll have time for questions. I'll leave like a good, 10, 15 minutes for questions. So
Awesome.
um this is, now that we covered the listing portion, and then we covered the analytics portion, so now we see what's going on. We dive into the actual levers you can pull. So there, the way that I look at it is, you look at the results and then you pull levers, and there's a few levers we can pull. I'm going to show you kind of my system, and in that system you're going to see right here what are the levers that I can pull, and these are all levers. So optimization of the bids, finding new search terms and launching them, negativing irrelevant terms, negativing terms that are spending and not making money, improving impressions, and I also have a few others that I'm going to mention. So let's dive into this. So this is kind of my flow when I jump into an account. So and you can apply this to your account, because whatever you can take from here, you can apply it. Maybe it's not the initial part, it could be the later part. So I hop into a new account. I create a portfolio for each SKU. Very, very important to do this, because it helps separate the products very easily. It's almost like a, you're creating folders for the different campaigns. And so if I have like a, hydrolyte unflavored or whatever, that's going to be in its own campaign portfolio. If I have a hydrolyte blue raz, it's going to be in its own portfolio. If you have variations that are kind of together, you can put them all in the same campaign. So some people say, let's say like you have a blue and a black glove, and they're variated. Some people say put them in the same campaign. Some people do launch separate campaigns. So the answer to this is you have to test it. I've tried both. For some it works better if you put them in the same campaign. For some it works better if you put them in separate campaigns. I have no idea. I haven't come up with a conclusion yet. If I do, I'll let everyone know. But for now, I would just say test it. Test putting them in the same campaign, test separating them, and see which one performs better. So once we have the portfolio set up, we're going to do the keyword research. So I showed you guys the keyword research earlier, and this is going to get you a lot of good keywords to start with. Then you can do category research. So if your product is present in multiple categories, like for mine, it could be in hydration and energy powders, in electrolyte supplements, in whatever. So it could be in multiple categories. I'll document those categories so I can do a category campaign. Then I'll start the launch. So the launch is 4 auto campaigns split apart. So the close match, loose match, complements, and substitutes. All of them are broken up. The reason I break them up is because some will perform better than others. So the ones that perform good, I'll be able to scale the budget, scale the bids. The other ones that don't perform as well, I'll keep optimizing the bids until I get to a point where I can scale. Maybe I don't get to a point where I can scale. Maybe it takes a while for me to add enough negatives where the whole campaign is profitable and I can scale it. So that's why I keep them separate. Then I do, my main keywords, broad phrase exact, my top 10 keywords, broad phrase exact. So those are campaigns that will have the main and the top 10 keywords, so I can start ranking for them. If you're running those already, great. If not, you should definitely look into it. Keep the broad and the phrase and exact always in separate campaigns, because the broad will get a lot more impressions than the phrase. And as a result, they'll dominate and take over the budget. I also have a very linear structure. So one campaign, one ad group, and then the keywords. I don't do multiple ad groups because I've noticed that I can set $100 budget and maybe one ad group is going to get $90. I have no idea why. We can't control it. Amazon does. So as a result, I just keep it linear so we can control, the budget that goes straight to the keywords. Um, then I'm going to launch the categories refined. So I'll launch it's a product targeting campaign. I'll click on category. I'll select my category, and then I'll refine it and make the price more expensive than mine and 3 stars or less. So this is kind of going to get some of the low hanging fruit in terms of product targeting. Then I target branded keywords. So again, 3 separate campaigns, broad phrase and exact, anything that has my brand name on it. Even if you think no one's going to look for your brand name, it's good to protect all of your placements. So just have that there protecting you. Target your own ASINs if you have multiple products, again, to protect it. And then I like to target new arrivals. So what I notice is newest arrivals, they're like very low hanging fruit because they're in their honeymoon phase. They're probably running like a bunch of auto campaigns. They have 0 reviews. And, usually within the first 7 days, I'll have like 10, 15 reviews. So I'll be able to kind of beat them out. Then from there, the goal is to, launch these campaigns, discover more profitable keywords, and then keep targeting them. And then whatever we're already running, to keep optimizing until they're profitable. So 7 days after the launch, I'll download the bulk sheets, and I'll show, I'll download the bulk sheet. I'll highlight everything, sort and filter. In column B, I'll click on record type, and I'll show only the keywords and product targets. I'll sort by ACOS. So anything that has an ACOS, largest to smallest. Anything that doesn't, I'll do number of clicks, highest to lowest. And then anything that's under 3 clicks, I'll do impressions, highest to lowest. So I'll select, usually when I'm starting out, I'll do like 1.5 times my profit margin. So if my profit margin before ads is 50%, 75% will be my target ACOS. Anything above it, I'll lower. So, and you can lower in a tiered manner. So you can say, okay, if it's above it by 10%, lower by 5 cents, maybe above it by 10%, lower by 10 cents, above that, lower by 15 cents. But try and be a little bit gentle with the lowering. If it's spending a lot, you can be a little bit more aggressive. But all you want to do is, essentially, you have a page, and if you're on like top of page 1 and you're not profitable because you're spending too much and not converting enough, You want to move to the middle of page one, then you want to move to the bottom of page one, then you're going to go to the top of page two. So you don't want to do it in increments where you go from page one to like page four. And if you cut it so hard and you go to page four, maybe no one's going to page four, and now you're like, okay, wow, this keyword is not running anymore, it's not profitable. So you want to slowly lower it so you find that sweet spot. Maybe it's the top of page two and you can be profitable there. And then same thing with anything that's getting me clicks and no sales. I'll lower the bids until I get to a point where I think it's profitable, or might never get there, and then it kind of just dies down. And then anything under 3 clicks and under 300 impressions, it might mean that it's not getting enough data due to having a very like low bid. So I'll increase the bids up. Then I move to let's identify the unique search terms that have been profitable. So I'll download the search term report, and then I'll sort by product, and then I'll go in and I'll show only auto broaden phrase, and I'll do like a filter, and I'll say show me ACOS between 0 to like 25% ACOS. So keywords that are profitable, and I'll extract those keywords, and I'll make sure that I'm not already running them. So you can do a deduplication. You can look up a deduplication formula, and you could compare the keywords that you're running in the bulk sheet versus the keywords that you found in the search term report. And the unique ones, you can start running them. I would suggest that you use the cost per click that you found in the bulk sheet. So if a keyword was in the search term report. So if a keyword was profitable in the search term report and the cost per click was $0.75, then when you launch it in broad and phrase and exact, launch it at 75 cents as well. And don't worry about broad and phrase and exact competing with each other. A lot of people ask me this question. They don't really compete, because a broad keyword will trigger for like 50 different keywords. So there's in 1 out of 50 times is your broad competing with your exact. Phrase is like 30 keywords. So 1 out of 30 times it's competing with your exact. So it's not worth worrying about competition when it's like 1 in 50 times and 1 in 30 times. So I'll identify those unique search terms, run them, and again, broad phrase and exact, hope they discover more keywords for me and hope that they're gonna be profitable. Then I go into this and I show everything in the search term report, and I look for anything that's irrelevant. So I just did a wallet the other day, and a wallet, and then vaccine wallet or something, or vaccination card wallet showed up, or it was a card holder and vaccination card holder showed up, and I'm like, no, this is like a wallet, it has nothing to do with vaccinations. So I took the word vaccination and I negative phrased it. So any phrase that has the word vaccination in it, it wasn't going to trigger anymore. I've seen it happen with like fur supplements. So sometimes like a hair supplement will trigger for fur keywords, like for pets. And I'm like, I have no idea why, but I'll negative the word fur, or whatever the phrase is, so it doesn't show up for those keywords anymore. Just kind of so you don't spend on stuff that doesn't make sense. Then it's like, okay, in the auto and the broad and the phrase, you're triggering for a lot of different keywords. So how can you make sure that some of the keywords that are profitable you keep them, but the other ones that are not profitable you stop them from kind of bringing the entire team average down. So I'll go into the search term report. Anything that's over 100% ACOS, or anything that's $10 in spend and no sales over the last 7 days, I'll take that keyword and I'll negative it. And it's okay if you want like every 60-90 days to remove the negatives and let them kind of like refresh and try again, because maybe now they're not performing, maybe 60-90 days in the future you have more reviews or whatever, they start performing better. So it's always good to remove negatives and test them out, unless they're irrelevant terms. Then I'll go into the bulk sheet. So every 60 days, if there's stuff that really is not getting enough impressions, like under 100 impressions in the last 60 days, I'll try and bump up the bid significantly to make sure that it's actually getting those impressions. Because if it's not getting impressions, it's kind of worthless. And this is one thing I also encourage everyone to do. Go into your accounts right now, go into all of your campaigns. If you notice in the last like 14 days, you have keywords in those campaigns that just don't have any impressions, just turn them off, because they're essentially as if they're not running, but you think they are. And then once you turn them off, you can put them in new campaigns, maybe just 1 or 2 or 3 keywords on their own, and give them a nice budget, give them a nice bid, and let them kind of start running. Because if there's no impressions, it essentially means they're not running. And then there's a couple other things that I do. Placement reports is a good one. So I'll go into into the bulk sheets, and I'll show everything by show like on column B. Sorry, I'll click sort and filter, and I'll show campaign by placement. This will tell me how these campaigns are performing in top of search, first page, product pages, and rest of search. Rest of search doesn't really matter, but if you see that the ACOS is like low, or you have a high ROAS in certain placements, like if your auto campaign substitutes is performing really well in the top of search first page, what you can do is you can do a bid plus. So say like a 50% bid plus. So if your bid is $1, you're telling Amazon, I'm willing to spend $1.50 if that means I'll show up in the top of search first page. And the reason I do that is because when you show up there, you've seen like in the data historically, you've performed better there. So, I'll say, okay, I'm willing to spend more money if you can show me there more, because every time I show up there, I convert better than in the rest of the search. And essentially, that's everything on the sponsored product side. The sponsored brand, I'm going to touch it really quickly, but sponsored brand, video, and display, I run them sparingly. And the reason is I don't want to spend money on them and not get overall revenue lift from them. And this happens a lot. So there's three cases where I'd run them. The first one is branded. So I'll protect all my branded terms with all of the different placements just so I can block off any competitors. The second one, they're kind of like opposing. So if you weren't profitable on page one but are on page two, I would consider testing the different like the different types of ads, like video and display and headline search ads on those keywords. So maybe on you can go into Helium 10 and see your sponsors are on page two, and you can kind of say, okay, if they're on page two, let's try these keywords with video and let me see if it converts well. If it does, amazing. If it doesn't, then you can turn them off. And then if they're already profitable on page one, you can also test. And this is very like risky, because you can put a video on page. If you're already on page one, you put a video on page one, there's a higher chance of the same person clicking on two ads, which means you're going to spend more and not make any more money. So you can again test it and see if it does give you a lift in sessions and a lift in revenue. If it does, amazing, you can keep it. If it doesn't, you can like take it off. So that's essentially the full flow.
Awesome. Mina, that was excellent. Talking about what you just said, if you're already your sponsor is on page one, and then you put a sponsor brands video ad on page one,
Yeah.
you're right. You might pay double, but if you're thinking of playing defense, like maybe
Yeah.
if you do
For
that,
branded.
you're taking away real estate from competitors. What do you think about that?
I think for branded, so for
Yeah, for
branded
brand.
keywords, you can take away those placements, no problem. But
Yeah,
if you're on page one or page two, and then you run those ads, if they're taking away from your profit, unless you
yeah,
have some sort of long-term branding play, if you're Nike, if you're
yeah.
Samsung, whatever, sure, you have the budget. But if you're
Sure.
just going after profits, then you're spending more money on ads and not making more profit.
Okay, excellent. We only have a few minutes left. I'd like to take one or two questions from the audience that were already pre-submitted, and then we'll wrap
Let's
up.
do it.
Okay. Okay. Rana asked earlier, should we start auto campaigns from the start? Like Brandon Young said, we should not run auto campaign from the start. His point is that if we run auto from the start, as Amazon don't know what is our products, and
Yeah.
Amazon can show our product to irrelevant keywords, and Amazon's going to consider your product is relevant for these keywords, and it can kill your product. What do
Yeah.
you think about that, Mina?
So I've personally never seen that happen with any of the products that I've ran, and I've seen a lot of success running auto, right off the bat. So it doesn't mean that he's wrong or I'm wrong. It just means like it can go either way. For me, I've seen that if I have a good listing, all the keywords are in there. I run auto from the start. I run my top 10 keywords, broad phrase, and exact, separate campaigns from the start. I'm rarely seeing a lot of irrelevant keywords. I'm also doing a lot of product targeting campaigns from the start. So it's very quick, and auto catches on, and it says, okay, we know what keywords you're ranking for. So
Yeah,
uh I don't know, but I don't know, but he's seen that. So
yeah,
it could happen. I just don't know.
yeah. Okay.
I've tried doing no auto, and I think no auto is like not a good idea because it really slows down sales. And in your honeymoon phase, you really want to speed up the sales.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And Jeannie had a question. Hi, I would like to ask how many keywords in one campaign for broad phrase exact each is appropriate?
So I like to keep it to a maximum of five now. So maximum five keywords per campaign. Any more, I start seeing like a significant drop in impressions. And so, if you have 10 or 15 keywords, or let's say 50 keywords, which I see a lot, then Amazon kind of sends budget to like the top five or six or maybe 10, and then it doesn't give budget to the rest of the ones. So if you stay around the five, a number of five keywords, you're pretty safe. So I do five.
Excellent. We only have a few minutes left. Do you still have some more time, or do you got to run at the end of the hour?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. So one more question from Rana. We have a category targeting campaign for discovery. CPC is 15 cents, click through rate 0.6%, got 2,000 clicks and spent $300 at 50% ACOS. Our target ACOS is 30%. What bid should we adopt for this campaign?
So again, so in this case, first of all, really you can't go lower than like 1 cent at a time. First of all, so if you're 15 cents, what are you gonna adopt? 9 cents? Like anything for me under like 70 cents doesn't even show. So this might be a very like niche thing. And again, why is the target ACOS 30%? So are you truly not profitable at 50%? Because if your click-through rate is 0.6%, that's pretty good. What is your conversion rate? If your conversion rate is 9% or 7%, that's the problem. Because if you can get your conversion rate to 15 or 20, then that 50% ACOS is gonna go all the way down. But I really, at such a low cost per click, you know how, like, that methodology, you can only save so much money, but you can always make more money. It's the same thing. Like, what are you going to go from 0.15 to what, like 0.14, 0.13? Eventually you're just going to vanish. But if you can improve your product, your conversion rate, click-through rate, just a little bit, you can probably get that 50 to 30% pretty quick. And again, make sure that actually, like, you need to go to 30%, because what is the profit? And what I would actually test is, okay, at 0.15 you have a certain profit amount, go to 0.17 and then goes to 0.13, and look at what your profits are. And if you really, your profits are not there, and they're not improving at 0.13, they're not improving at 0.17, you have a conversion rate issue. Not a click-through rate. Looks good, 0.6 is pretty solid, so I would look
Mhm.
at the conversion rate.
Excellent. All right. Excellent. So Mina, I'd like to highlight you have a special bonus for us. Do you want to talk about that?
Cool. Yeah, so special bonus for everyone on, listening on this call, and in the seller summit community. Email me at mina@triviumco.com, and I'll give you a free audit on your account. So I'll go in there. I can only do so many, obviously. Like, I only have so much time in the day. So if you're the sooner you email me, the better. But I will go in, and I'll jump into your account, and I'll record a Loom video, and I'll fully audit everything that I see, and everything that I think can be improved. And obviously, you guys have my systems, and if I have more resources that I see that you would benefit from, I'll reply back in the email with the audit.
Awesome. So free PPC audit with Mina, Mina at triviumco.com. I think that's priceless. I mean, having a seven-figure seller and PPC expert look through your audit, that would be highly valuable. And did you want to talk about the website as well?
Yeah, so if you guys want more in-depth PPC content, go to the ppcuniversity.com. And right now I have, the paid course, which is like the step-by-step breakdown of everything. I have a couple of free courses, or like $1 courses. I'm adding another probably hour and a half, 2 hour training on there, which is going to cover like everything that we covered today, but even more in depth. Like step by step, you're gonna see like everything that I do, the numbers and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just, I'm putting more and more content out there for that's gonna help people kind of succeed on Amazon through PPC.
Awesome. So definitely check that out, the ppcuniversity.com. And a couple comments. Jody says, wow, thank you. That's amazing. Rana says thanks. Jeannie says thank you. We had one more question from 777 PPC. Do you follow a certain percentage in lowering and increasing the bids?
So I don't do percentages. I only do dollar amounts. So it's tiered. So it'll be something like, let's say my goal is like 30%. So 30 to 40 will be lower by 3 cents. 40 to 50 will be lower by 5. 50 to 60 will be lower by 7 cents. 60 to 80 will be lower by 10 cents. 80 to 100 will be lower by 12 cents. And I'll tier it, and it's only by a certain number of cents. And kind of the reason is because percentages don't always work, because it's a bidding process. So um if I'm bidding $1.50, and I'm here, and all I need to do is go here for me to be profitable, I don't want to decrease by 10%, which is going to be 15 cents. Maybe I just need to decrease by 5 cents, and I'll end up here and be profitable. So beware of the percentage reduction in bids, because it can drop you a little bit too fast, and then you kind of like miss that sweet spot where you're going to be really profitable.
Excellent. All right. Thanks so much. And then Sally also says thank you. So, we covered a lot today. We went through the 4-step process to double your profits. Hopefully, this will help you guys with your PPC campaigns, and definitely highly recommend you take advantage of the opportunity, the free PPC audit with Mina. In terms of the 80-20 rule time, I'm all about
Yeah.
80-20 rule, Mina. If
Mhm.
you were to distill everything we shared today, what's the number one recommendation you'd like to leave our audience with so they can double their profits?
Uh, that's tough, man. Okay, so the number one thing I would say is uh, develop a system for your PPC. So you saw my system. Make your own, and identify all those levers. So the bid optimization is a lever to lower. Unique search terms is a lever to increase. Negatives is a lever to lower. Placements is a lever to increase. So you have two levers to lower, two levers to increase. One is to lower cost, the other one is to increase profits. And if you build a system, and every week you lower the cost by a little bit, increase the profits by a little bit, and you have your analytics dashboard and you're tracking it, you should be on track to double your profits. Don't expect it to double in like a week. Maybe if you spend the next 6 months, it'll double. But I mean, 6 months to double profits, not bad, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You're moving in the right direction. All right.
Yeah.
Mina, thank you so much for this super valuable training. I learned a lot. I'm sure our audience did too. Thank you, everybody who joined us. I hope this is helpful, and have a great Q4 ahead, guys. We will see you guys at the next session. Bye, everyone.